guys, so these are the reasons that you shouldn't learn how to program. So I think primarily you should know who you are as a person personality wise. So kind of the big things is like don't learn how to program just because of the money. There should be some type of like intrinsic interest, like you like solving problems and focus for long lengths of time on like a screen or a problem without being distracted. And obviously you can kind of improve your level of focus and like kind of eliminating distractions. I know I've gotten better at that as I've gotten older and kind of moved my phone to a different room of the office or the house. By eliminating the distractions, you can focus more on the problem. But yeah, just don't do it solely for like financial reasons. Do it more because you like kind of making your life easier. You see ways to automate your life, and you like solving problems. Also, if you don't do well with kind of like logical reasoning, and what I mean like that, like I think we've all possibly taken like a philosophy 101 class where you have to work with like logical gates. So like, hey, if true and true, then it's true. If you don't kind of like breaking down problems into like those if and or else statements, it might be hard for you to learn programming. Not saying it's impossible, but you kind of want an ability to take a big problem and break it down. Because all programming is a series of steps that you kind of write functions to use to make your life easier. I would say those are kind of the primary things. Like there's not many reasons to not learn how to program, but know that if you're not particularly interested in it and you're only doing it for financial reasons, that's not a good enough reason to start. Now, this might change. I know I've tried a lot of things in my life that I didn't like at first, like seltzer water and coffee, that I end up growing to love. So I at least recommend you try it out and then combine it with a passion or hobby that kind of like encourages you to learn programming. But those are the primary things. And then also I think just a minor one is if you don't like kind of like the secondary effects of like programming, maybe it's just a certain company like you're applying for, then always just kind of work on like personal projects. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of any reasons you shouldn't learn how to program besides not doing it for the right reasons.
So you probably shouldn't if you're literally at the end of your career and there's no incentive for you to do it. Then like why spend the time? Otherwise, learn.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that there are some people out there who, like, they don't feel like they need it because of whatever industry they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in an industry where you feel like most of your work is manual and there's nothing you can do about that, then, like, okay, don't learn how to program. You probably still should, but, like, don't learn how to program.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, like, in a more of a role, like, where, like, you deal more with, like, kind of human interactions, more emotional side, like negotiation. Maybe you don't need to like automate stuff because you can hire people to do that, and obviously it becomes more a question of like a trade-off of your time. What's the most time valuable? Maybe it's more makes more sense to invest that in like more negotiations practice daily. But on that note, I kind of want to recommend like a non-standard field where one of my friends, he's a lawyer and he's able to teach himself programming, where he was able to automate a lot of his like form filling processes. So he became really good at that skill, and he automated a lot of the form filling appropriately, where he's saving time, he's saving money, and he's reducing errors. There might be like a little internal, I wouldn't say fear, but barrier. Hey, like I probably won't find useful. At least try it out because you might surprise yourself like how much time you can save. And the other thing is you might be asking, hey, am I too old to learn how to program? Like Solomon said, I think you should just start because you might be 30, 40, 50, and I've seen use cases of people who've learned it later in their life where they were able to be effective at work. So maybe you might not be a full-time programmer, but you can be even more effective at your job. And just give you an example, like I know this is going to sound early maybe to a certain group of people, but I learned how to program maybe when I was around 23. So I didn't go to college. I haven't done it since I was in high school or middle school. And the key is to just start if you find it interesting and you think it would be beneficial for your career. That quote, another cliche I'll be using is, what's the best time to plant a tree? Not if you can't do it 20 years ago, then do it now.
Another reason to not learn is if you're one of those people where there may be another skill that's more beneficial to you in your role, like say Tableau.
Yeah.
Then maybe it makes sense to put off learning how to program and focus on that skill that's immediately more beneficial to you. For a lot of people, it could make more sense to spend time learning something that's no code or very low code, like an Alteryx or like a Tableau. That may be immediately more beneficial given your institution. Not every institution is going to be accepting or open to like some of these programming language.
It makes more sense to kind of like go deeper into your particular skill set and become the best at what you're doing. Obviously, again, the trade-off thing, it makes more sense to be the best in your field and develop those skills. Maybe that's you being the best like lawyer maybe that's the best doctor, and it makes more sense for you to practice doing a particular surgery than actually learning how to program. And again, it's just you have to know who you are as a person and your personality and like what's going to be most beneficial for you.
I recommend everyone should learn because I think that's where the future's headed. And if you're a lazy person like myself, I'm very lazy. It's like if you want to do the least amount of work possible, you learn how to code, because ultimately you will save yourself so much time, like on menial tasks, on things you don't want to do. Like you mentioned automate the boring stuff. Like you can get rid of all the boring stuff, all the stuff you don't like, you can knock down. So everyone should learn how to code. But I get if you don't want to, if you're a certain type of person.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. Again, at the end of the day, it's just about knowing yourself and what's going to be beneficial for you long term. So there is no, I would say, right answer in terms of this question, but that's kind of where we stand. So anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you, Solomon, for sharing your wisdom here too. And hope you guys have a nice day. Cheers.